Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Batcave, a series of fast-paced 30-minute political shows aimed at opening the eyes of America to what is currently taking place in our country. I'm your host, Batmobile, and our guest today will be Patriot Pat, an ordained minister and Tea Party patriot who's been with us previously on the show, and she'll be talking to us about the Christian church and whether it's been using its influence to pass along the liberal agenda onto its followers. Welcome back to the show, Pat.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. Now, since you were last on the show, we've had you go on special assignment to investigate various churches throughout the country and see whether they've been trying to brainwash their members into the liberal agenda. What have you found out so far?
Well, I've talked to. I'll start with the churches. 1 second, please. Please, I'm on a radio show. He's not here. I am so sorry, but the office door is open.
Okay.
But anyway, I started with the Catholic Church. And what I found with the Catholic Church, when we use this word collective salvation,
right.
Everybody has to know that it is not even, it's like bogus, because it's not even in the Bible, collective salvation.
Well, it's against human nature, because human nature tells us we're all born free, and collective salvation is telling people you have to think this way, and it's the only way, and that's wrong. That's not the American way. That's not Christian way.
Right. The thing is, God gave us what He didn't even give His own angels, and that was called free will. And it's not like, okay, you're a ball player, and I golf. And it's like, okay, well, Carlos, now you got to golf because I golf,
right.
And you hate golf, and I hate baseball, and, it's like, okay, so what do you care? Unless, of course, you're trying to be my boyfriend, and then you'll pretend you like golf until we really get together, and you're not going to you're not going to play golf with me anymore. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. When you do these, this collective salvation, it's not in the Bible. They try to use John 17 for it. A lot of these advocates that John 17 is proof text. And it's Jesus. And what it is Jesus, when He's saying one with me, one with you. First of all, He was actually talking about, God protecting His apostles. That's His crew. Like he was praying for them, not for the whole world. He's praying for the apostles, Father, take care of them because I'm leaving them behind. And then also when He says, those that follow, and believe that I am a part of you and we are one, that they become one with the apostles who are one with us. But it's not like, okay, everybody's got to do this. Everybody has to know that when you get with Jesus, it's an individual.
Right.
Individual. There's not, okay, we all blow up in a building, and then, okay, now we're at heaven's door, and Jesus is going to say, yeah, everybody, come on in, don't, because you're all together. No, we're not all together. We're all individuals, and we do things according to our free will. To try to force somebody to do this collective salvation, no such thing.
Well, it's common sense. When we die, we will all be individually judged. Will we not?
Absolutely. And like I said, the whole it's Jesus knocks. He knocks and you open the door. It's your choice. It's your choice.
Correct.
Our job as Christians, the only job of us as Christians, nothing to do with politics. You didn't see Jesus roaming the earth dealing with politics. Okay, He was saving souls. Helping people to understand. What true salvation is, and nothing to do with politics. And there was no creating institutions or, lobbying, for anything to go on with the morality in society.
Right.
Jesus was that He wanted everybody to have a godly life within Him and His Father. and it's our job, if you want to call it a job, because we have free will to do it or not, is to calling others to individual salvation through Jesus Christ, not like come hang with me. Okay, bottom line is the church is within you. Church is not a building. Church is within you, group of people. Okay, so now that we got that done, yes, you're going to hear a lot about this collective salvation in the churches, because it's like, okay, we need a new church roof, and we all need to pitch in and, get your pennies together because we need a new roof, and it's part of our salvation, in order to survive the church, to grow and to be, with Jesus and all that. The church will tell you all kinds of things because they want your money.
Right. Well, they have an agenda. They have an agenda there.
Exactly.
But isn't that where charity comes in? I mean, that should come from your heart.
Well,
you want to donate as opposed to them saying you have to donate.
Right. Because what you're doing, if you get caught up in this collective salvation, what you're saying is, all by myself, I'm nothing. I have to be part of a group. I have to be part of a gang. And then, the salvation part comes in, which, I have to sacrifice. I have to ensure everybody else's salvation because we have to go, we have to do it together. And you know what this is called? It's called like teamwork. If the Amish are going to build a barn, they all get together, they do teamwork. You want a new gym for the kids, you do a bake sale. This has nothing to do with, saving your souls and all that. Doing good work, of course, anytime anybody with their own free will does good work in the name of God, of course, that's great.
Now, have you talked this over with any of your church members, and finding out whether they're trying to spread? Okay.
Yes.
What have they said?
First of all, I am Roman Catholic, and a lot of Roman Catholics are, I would say disenchanted. I mean, they're going to, when you go to church, like even when I go to church, it doesn't matter what church I go into. I'm not there to make friends. I'm not there to change people's minds. I'm not there for anything except to, connect with God.
Right.
This is what I'm there for. And if I talk to somebody or I minister to somebody, that's all good. But the reason why I'm there in the first place, and then, like I said, I observe, I see what's going on. And like I said, this people, I think with the Catholic Church, like I said, the Catholic Church is having a lot of trouble with parishioners and followers. People are drifting away. All the churches, I think, are having a little bit of problem with that. But and of course, but as far as seeing any kind of this, I'm going to call it communism. Everybody makes pretty words for it. I'm just going to call it communism.
That's what it is.
I don't think so. I'm going to tell you because I think people, first of all, you have the internet, you have people are educating themselves and figuring things out for themselves, and they're not going for it, and I don't think the church is definitely not, trying to induce it, like, maybe within the church, we got to work together, we got to do this, but as far as involving politics in it, I am not seeing it in the Catholic Church.
No.
I know. Yes, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, have you spoke to anybody about to find out whether the political leanings are either towards the current administration's way of dealing with America, or the people against what's taking place?
I got to say, now listen, like I said, I couldn't call every church in the United States. I didn't even, I connected with friends in Utah, Iowa, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio. I'm trying to get, I was making some phone calls, and kind of, Chicago also, by the way. Okay, there you got a problem. Because, and the problem is, okay, in Chicago, it's a big union, Democrats. They're in the churches. I heard that they're please, we got to pray for our President Obama. You know, we save our president. We all got to band together. It is political. Yes, it is going on in Chicago. Absolutely going on in Chicago.
But that doesn't represent the entire country, right?
No, but I'm saying, okay, and the church too. Okay, I'm talking about like a Baptist church. Baptist church are mostly black, and in Chicago, it's hey, we gotta do this also. And I'm not just going to say black churches. Even in the Hispanic churches, the minorities. It's we got to pray for Obama. He's our leader. He's doing good work. Not to me, just a bunch of propaganda. But yeah, it's going on now. But if you go down south, because I called Tennessee, and this is Catholic and Baptist. Oh, also Georgia, another one. They are saying, yeah, we got Baptists down here, and they had just about a goddamn enough of it. They ain't taking none of that. So their
eyes are open. They can see.
Yeah, and and it's not a different race either. I'm talking about Southern Baptists, black, white. They're like saying, hey, this is not. Their big thing too is this. Islamic takeover, and they feel that Obama is all in on it, and so yeah, they're definitely like, no, we're not doing that. Then you could go like Utah. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe what's going on over there, because I don't know. I've been to Utah.
Utah has a large Mormon population, so do you think that might have something to do with it? Yeah.
You know what? I don't know if it, because let me tell you something. The people I called in Utah, one is from New York, and the other one's from California. Okay, the one from California, that's like Pothead Haven over there. He made more sense than the one from New York. I'm like, I'm trying to figure this out. I spoke to him, and he said that the church, because he met a Mormon girl, so he was. Of course, Mormon Church has also their own, agenda of trying to get more people to convert to Mormon into their church. So that's one thing. He said that, he didn't see anything like political concerning, what's going on. It's kind of like nobody discusses it, which is, I think, not that you have to do it in church, but it's like he said, even the community. It's a small, community, and everybody knows everybody's business, and everybody. Right. Oh, you want to talk about collective salvation? That it's there, absolutely really? There. Because he said he's afraid to open his mouth. And by the way, he's leaving. Wow. He's getting out of there. He's going back up to California. But he said, even to like, I'm his sponsor, okay? I'm AA. Okay. I'm his sponsor. Why am I his sponsor? I'm in Brooklyn, New York. He's in Utah. Why am I his sponsor? Well, because if you get a sponsor there, everybody knows your business. Right. And if you're not acting right, and you are shunned. You're shunned in the community. I'm like, wait a minute, what happened to being anonymous? And he said, there's no such thing here. Everybody has to know your business, and you have to do everything according to what they say. So I said, well, it's time to leave town. Now, I have a friend over in Boise, and I know this girl. This girl used to babysit my children. I watched her grow up, and I'm like, and she's smart. I mean, she's a Brooklyn girl. She's smart. And she's like, la, 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 la. I'm like, she's campaigning for Obama.
Oh, geez.
Campaigning. She even put my name in to win that contest to have dinner at the White House with him and Mao. I'm like, just to tick me off. I says, I hope I win, because I'll do more spewing than chewing there, and then I'll be never invited again. But and I actually did talk to her on the phone, because I said, what is going on with you over there? And she's like, no, they're all Obama here. This is Obama country. Yeah. And I told her, I says, wait a minute. I spend every minute. I mean, I could. Be out all day. I walk in for 5 minutes to grab a coat, and I post something political, waking everybody up to what's going on. And I said,
well, these are the people that need to be made aware of what's taking place, because we know that the media is lying to everybody.
Carlos,
Yeah.
Yeah, you see how I post. I'm a maniac. I'm called an extremist. I'm called a radical because I'm so adamant, about getting the news to them. And here's a girl that I've known all my life, and I says, wait a minute, don't you ever look at any of my videos, any of my posts, any of my documents? She goes, no. She goes, I refuse to get involved with that pish-posh propaganda.
Well, see, that's what we call the sheeple mentality, and that's what's going to do America in if we can't wake them up.
Oh my God! I want to say.
See, this is why I say that the Christian churches, this is what their job should be. They should be waking the people up, and instead here they are trying to basically take in the opposite effect. It's like, oh no, they're telling us to teach collective salvation and all these things, and we know that that's not the Christian way of life. So it's like they're being implemented. They're taking their agenda and putting it right into the church, into the Christian churches. And instead of doing the opposite, which is waking people up and saying, look, say no to this. This is a communist agenda that's trying to destroy America. They're doing just the opposite. I mean, how do we snap these people up? How do we get the responsible people in the churches to spread the right message?
Well, like I said, I believe it has a lot to do with location. I mean, when you're in a part of the country, God bless farmers and mill workers. God bless. I love traveling America, and being a part of it. And I grew up on a farm. So, but you go into these areas where it right now it's not really affecting them, except that taxes are going up, gas is going up, and gas is going up to almost $5 here in New York, but it's not going up that high in Utah. You know what I'm saying? And unless you're more closer to it, involved in it, people are just being nonchalant. It's like what's going on. Like I remember Vietnam. All this stuff going on in Vietnam, and it's like I was very affected by it because I was part of that generation where my boyfriends were going to Vietnam, but anybody else, it's, okay, unless you're there and you're part of it, you're like disconnected from it. Your life is going fine, you're not going to worry. But once it's in your yard, like, I say that all the time. I says, that attack that, a lot of people say, oh, it happened in New York. Excuse me, it happened in America.
In America. Right.
And I hate when people disconnect from it, saying it's a New York thing when it was an American thing. Yes, you were not here. You did not see what we went through. You did not see how we suffered. But it was an attack on all of us. And
that's where we realize that it's a broken country. We have to. I mean, the old saying of "United we stand, divided we fall." We're living it right now. These are trying times where we have to just get together and tell people the right message, and tell them how they're being lied to by the media and our politicians, and and when you go to church, I mean, that's where you trust the people you trust the most. They've already infiltrated politics and the media, so it's time for the I think the church has to do its part because the good people are still going to be going to church.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Carlos, I personally, I don't. You know what? I'm a little divided on that because, like I said, when I go to church, like when I walk out of these town meetings, I walk out of these political gatherings, these protests, these rallies, whatever. Because every day it's something else with me. It's like when I go into church, it's like I want to deal with God. I want to talk to Jesus. Okay, and I don't think, unless there was actually a dangerous situation where you run to the church and the church is, now the church has taken up the cause politically. I think church, to me, should be still a safe sanctuary away from all of it. That's where I go to get away from the craziness. But the fact is, you're right. A lot of churches are implementing it, and But again, I'm going to say that whatever was going on in 2008 is not going on now, because, like I said, even this Rev Wright, okay, that was in Chicago. That was Obama's big mentor, his spiritual advisor, and Oh God. Oh, that's all I could say about Reverend Wright. The man is so anti-American, so hateful, so.
Yeah.
Okay, but this, Obama was raving about him, and then when Wright got busted with a lot of his sermons because they're all over YouTube now. Obama disconnected himself from that. He's like, oh no, I really, I didn't, all the double talking. First it's like, oh yes, he's my spiritual advisor. No, I really didn't go to church that much over there. Oh, he never said that when I was in church, And the same thing with, and then you got Reverend Manning here in Harlem.
Yeah, he's good.
Everybody calls. Okay, he's a radical. He's extreme. The man is angry. Okay, when you, we sound like lunatics because we're past the point of being nice about it.
Right.
But Reverend Manning, he's like, well, and everything he said is coming true. Farrakhan, another one, because I posted a little something about him today, but not to do with the church. But here's a man that this great Muslim leader, and and he recently
turned on Obama. Yeah, he turned on him.
He turned on him, absolutely. Because that's what commies do. Well, with Obama, it's all his agenda. Because we could go to Acorn too. He's telling them, "I'm taking you with me. When I get to that White House, I'm taking you with me." All of a sudden, Acorn's getting busted for all kinds of corruption and fraud and intimidation, and then Obama goes, "Well, I really don't know them that well."
There's a lot.
They're teaching them how to rip off the government and the taxpayers.
Yep, there's a lot of people under that Obama bus. We know that.
He has no problem.
It's just scratching the surface.
Right.
But anyway, I don't know if you've heard about this. Last time you were on the show, we spoke about Islam, and now many Christian churches are actually starting out teaching the faith. They call it the faith of Chrislam, which I guess is integrating both Christianity and Islam into one. But don't you really think that's just false religion? This is basically just trying to transition Christians into Islam, isn't it? That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, we discussed about this earlier, and like I said, I don't want to open my mouth too much. First of all, if you're telling me right now, and I'd say, you know what, you're out of your damn mind, But you know what? There's a lot of crazy things going on in the world. I don't see it. I'm going to investigate it. I'm going to research it. I will find out. You know that. I'll probably by midnight tonight I'll have your answer. But I just don't see how that could happen, especially a Christian church. It just can't happen.
It sounds to me like they're just trying to indoctrinate the weak-minded, the people, because as we both know, this is happening in how many people go into prison as a Christian and come out as a Muslim, which you see more of it every day.
Well, I think because maybe you're in the same cell with Bubba. Sometimes that has a lot to do with it. Also, I got to say, Reverend Wright, by the way, he is that. He's got Muslims and Christians in his church. He's doing that. Whatever you call that, Chrislam, what do you call it?
Chrislam, yeah. Chrislam.
Yeah, Chrislam.
Yeah,
well, that has always been Reverend Wright's church. That's I'll say, it's definitely going on there, but, that's all like, who hangs out there, the new Black Panther Party and radicals and extremists and kill Whitey and, kill all Americans. You know what that church is about. That, to me, is satanic, but that's Obama's church. That's his spiritual advisor.
Well, that's where he got the anger from.
Yeah. I don't think that, and like I said, then you got Reverend Manning here in Harlem, and everybody says he's crazy because he just, he lets you have it big time. So I'll take Reverend Manning over Reverend Wright any day.
Absolutely,
I truly believe that Reverend Wright is satanic. I think he's very dangerous. I see what he has done to young minds. Yes, you want to talk about brainwashing people in your church. Absolutely. But I also know, too, that a lot of these churches that were, I got to say, even voters, I have them on my Facebook. Come on. They voted for Obama. This whole be changey thing that was like, hey, some people were desperate. Some people, they wanted it. Meanwhile, how many people, they won't even admit that they voted for Obama. They don't even want to admit that they even ever voted for him. So I know things are changing.
You'll know those people whenever you say, let's talk about Obama or whatever, and they'll be, no, let's talk about something else. You'll know they voted for him, they regret it.
Exactly. And you know what? And I'm good with that. You know what? You made a mistake. The ones that are scaring the hell out of me are the ones that are like, they're going to vote for him again.
Yeah.
Those are the scary ones, and those are the ones that I says, you know what? You should give them a test before they vote. Name
Absolutely.
who your vice president's going to be, because you see what goes on. But I see it. And go ahead.
No, I was going to say you're going to be in Washington D.C. this July 4th for that Muslim rally, right? Where they're trying to implement Sharia law throughout the country. You're going to be protesting against that.
You know I am.
Yeah, well, we want you to come. We want you to come back and report on that, because that's going to be pretty big. Let's hope it does. Let's hope it doesn't turn into something violent, because we're talking about two very angry people on both ends of the aisle here.
Well, I spoke to my daughter. One of the things I want to say is that this country is, I'm telling you, 2 years ago, when I tell you I felt alone in the world, alone. And then, of course, meeting up with you on Facebook and other patriots, and then even, like I said, people turning around and saying, hey, where did you get that information? I've seen leftists turning around. I'm a lefty that turned around, okay? People are, as much as I thought, oh, my God, they're all brainwashed, they're all, they're crazy, oh, my God, I'm alone in the world. No, we're not. You know what? We made a lot of noise, and people, little by little, it took me 2 years, but little by little, people started listening, and they're listening. And I feel so empowered by the people on my Facebook. And if any of them are listening, I am so proud to have patriots on my Facebook. I'm so proud of it. And I feel, and I even mentioned, I'm going to be there. Are you going to come with me in body or in spirit? And then one of them mentioned, I'm having a parade in my town. And, we're going to be, waving the flags and all. Yes, I want everybody, no matter where you're at, to really, celebrate this country like it's supposed to be celebrated. Let everybody know that, we are America.
Absolutely.
We are strong.
You're right. This is America, and this is going to be the 4th of July. This is our celebration. Nobody else should be raining on our parade.
Well, it's going to be the problem in Washington, because lots of times when things happen, Carlos, I say to myself, God, you know what? I was supposed to be there, but I'm glad I wasn't, because I know that I would have been hurt. I know I would have probably been in jail. I could have been killed. I've been in those kind of situations, because one thing, and you've seen me post it, I am so proud of my flag.
Absolutely.
Okay? That flag represents my family for generations, since the Civil War fought in this country. Okay? That flag, it's not just a piece of material. And I'm telling you, and I'm letting everybody on the radio know it, don't even think of burning a flag in front of me. Don't even think of it. I will not care who you are. I don't care about your damn permits or whatever hell rights you think you have. I will take those rights away from you with death if I have to.
That's the right attitude. Anyway, Pat, we're starting to run out of time here, but I'd love to have you back and talk about that July 4th rally, and I want to really thank you for coming on the show today. This was great.
My pleasure. Hey, you know what? You're one of my favorite patriot dudes. Okay.
Thank you. Remember, everyone, God gave us each free will and individual salvation to be ourselves, and not to compromise who we are for anyone else's agenda. So if you go to church and hear your preacher telling you about collective salvation or social justice, set them straight and let them know Jesus died so that we may live free to be who we are. That's why we each have an individual soul. Until next time, this is Batmobile thanking you for joining us in the Batcave. God bless.
God bless you.